Hey, I'm Nikki and welcome to the Preppy Possum. Today I'm going to lead you step by step through a painting. All right, let's paint a marsh. It's like one of my favorite views when you're down east. So let's start by grabbing like a huge brush. So like a number 1, and let's grab some really like some lighter blues with even a little bit of white. And we're just gonna hop up about 8 or 9 inches from the bottom, something like that, and just throw you a little line across. And then we'll grab some more of that color and we're just gonna fill in the whole top part with some of those blues. And don't worry about it too much because we're gonna come back and thicken it up around our clouds, because we're gonna add a lot of clouds to kind of make it interesting. With some pretty pinks and purples and stuff in the clouds. Just grab some seafoam maybe, a little bit of light blue, some white, and just kind of have it really light towards the top, even though we're gonna come back and throw more. And then as you come down to that line that we had, we can even get like a little bit darker. So I'm gonna grab a little bit of turquoise with it. I'm gonna get a little bit darker. And the whole time you're painting, just kind of like blend it in, just so it won't be like a perfect line. Get a little crazy. But I'm just kind of doing like horizontal streaks to blend it a little bit. Then I might even grab a little bit more dark blue with it. So like a purpley, like royal blue. And get it like really dark towards the bottom where grass is gonna come up and hit it. Might need to get a little bit lighter in a few places, but I'll let that dry and come back and streak some light in there. So we got a good start to our sky. So now let's grab kind of those same blues will be a good start. So some lighter blues with a little turquoise. And I'm just gonna do like our little water that runs through it, which you can make yours like, you know, however you want to. I'm just gonna have it kind of be a little bit bigger over here on the left, which we won't be stuck with anything. So just kind of get it on there and you can always eat away at it with some grass. And then I'm just gonna let it curve up and curve over. So I'm gonna let it, can kind of be a little, but you can kind of do your little waterway however you want. I just want a few little bends. Let's see, I'm trying to make sure I have enough water here. Kind of looks like I'm silhouette of a person leaning over with their arm up. I've never noticed that. But just kind of throw it on there because we'll come back and throw some grass into the edge of our water. All right, I think that's a pretty good start to our little brackish water there. All right, now let's go ahead, while we have that huge one, just kind of wipe off your extra blue, and we'll start with, let's start with like some slimy limey and like some medium green together. That'll probably give us a good base color. And you don't have to like rinse out your brush, that blue. It's fine if you still had a little bit of blue on there. but just some slimy limey with like medium green, and we'll go ahead and get all the big areas. So now we gotta start to our grass, or got like a little bit of green in there. So let's wipe that one off and chunk it in the water. If you like modern art, you could just be done now. So chunk that one in the water, and let's grab maybe like a number 6 size brush and dry it off. And we're gonna grab some bright white. And it's okay if your background's still a little wet, but grab bright white. And we're just gonna throw a few clouds on here. So don't worry that your background, if it is wet, because that blue will kind of mix in, and that'll be fine, because we can come back later and add a little bit more white to brighten it up. But once you get a cloud on there, kind of fill it in with a circular motion. That'll kind of get the fluffy look going. So kind of just do some little whoops, like through the left hand side I like to do like a C shape, and through the right hand side kind of like a backward C. And then we'll go ahead and maybe throw some up here on the edge, but still do the same thing, kind of like a circular motion to get some paint on there. Maybe some up here at the very top. And then we'll go ahead and throw maybe like a few more. But don't worry that your background's wet, because we'll come back once it dries and add a little bit more white to it. So we got a good start to our clouds. They're just kind of barely there right now, but we'll come back and add more paint, and we'll kind of go back over our sky around them too. All right, so we got our clouds started. Now, while we have that same size brush, a number 6, and some of the kind of lighter blues with some white, let's go ahead now, and all through the water, we're gonna do like some little lines, just some kind of lines that barely ripple all through our water. I might add a little bit of dark to it too. So maybe like a little bit of purple with even some of the blues. And I'm going to throw a few little lines that kind of ripple with some of the purple and blues. Okay, that got us started there. Actually, let's go ahead and while we have that brush, let's grab a little bit of purple and pink with some of the light blues. And now just through the bottom of all of our clouds, we're gonna throw some little whoops, like some little, kind of like some little smiley faces, just kind of do it quick. And we'll do that just towards the bottom. And don't worry, like I got a little heavy, but we're gonna come back and add more to it. So just like little whoops, like you're going underneath the dime. I might add that another little cloud over here. Just because I didn't have one. All right, well, at least we got a little bit of pink and purple in our clouds. So then we'll just wipe that one off and chunk it. And let's grab a little bit smaller size brush, so like a number 4. And let's grab some really dark green. And we're just gonna do some like blades of the grass. And so load your brush with a lot of paint, and then just we're gonna come up with your stroke. And we're gonna throw some of these dark green. And I would kind of throw like maybe a bunch right here. Come back and throw some more too. Maybe like a bunch of little ones. I don't know, it's pretty wet, so we might just throw a few and then let it dry for just a second. Let's do that. Let's go ahead and dry it. So we'll wipe that one off, chunk it in the water, and let it dry for just a smidge. Let's get these clouds looking a little fluffier. So let's grab like a number 6 and dry it off, and grab some white. You can even have a little bit of light blue with it too, but some white and a little light blue. And now we're just gonna do that kind of circular motion again and fluff up our clouds. I'm gonna grab a little bit more light blue just because I don't want it to be like too stark white. And you just want to do that kind of circular motion, like all through the top of the clouds. You don't have to take it all the way to the bottom, because we're going to come back and add some more like pinks and purples and stuff through the bottom. And then anywhere where it got like too stark white, I would just grab a little bit more light blue with the white and kind of throw a few whoops of that in there so it won't be quite as stark. So you can get a little bit more blended. Then we might as well, while we're in our clouds, keep the white and light blue on there and grab a little bit more of that pink and purple, and we'll add just a few more little whoops through the bottom, so kind of like you're going like underneath a quarter or something, just to get us a little bit more color in the clouds. So some white and light blue with a little bit of like light pink, light purple, and just kind of towards the bottom we'll just whoop a little bit of that in there. Now, I keep forgetting clouds. All right, we've added a little bit pink and purple. You can always come back and tweak them. Let's go ahead, and while we have that same brush, let's add a little bit more dark through our waterway. So grab a little bit of like a royal blue with some turquoise. And I'm just gonna skip and add a little dark in a few places, because then I'm gonna come back and add some lights too. I just wanna make sure I have some dark in there, because that's what's gonna make it look good, is like darks and lights. All right, now we'll grab some light blue with some light purple and pink. Might have got a little too pinky. I'll have to grab some more light blue. And just do a few more of those lines, just kind of barely wiggling. Because these little waterways do look, I know you're like, gosh, she's throwing pink and purple in the water, but they do look pretty magical when the sky is like reflecting off of them. Probably, if anything, needs some more light blue and turquoise. Throw a little bit more of that. Might grab some sea foam too. The more color you put in there, the better. And the less flat it looks. All right, that's probably another good start to our water. At least we got more color in there. Can come back and add to it. So we'll wipe that one off and chunk it in the water. Let's grab like a number 8 and dry it off, and we're going to grab some sea foam with some of the lighter blues, and let's kind of add some streaks through the top of our sky. So just without chopping off your clouds. And whenever you're doing this, you can just be really light, like load your brush with a lot of paint and just be really light with it, because you still want to see some of that original color too. And that just kind of thickens up our sky where we hadn't hit it again. Then we'll grab, you can keep that seafoam and the blues, but you could even grab a little turquoise with it. And now we'll throw a few streaks, going a little bit lower. And then keep the purple on there and grab some of the royal and turquoise. And we'll just streak with that. And just kind of load your brush and be really light with it. But I think we got our sky looking a little bit better. It's never going to look the same twice. But I think we got it good and getting it better, streakier. All right, now, actually, let's throw a little bit more up underneath this cloud so it'll really pop out at us. The dark on the light will look good and jump out. Okay, now let's wipe that one off, chunk it in the water, and let's grab a little bit smaller size brush, so number 4. And I'm gonna grab some like yellow, like a pale yellow, and some slimy limey green, and load my brush with a lot of paint. And I'm just gonna go up with my brush stroke, and I'm gonna do some little patches of really light grass. That may have got too yellow, so I might grab more slimy limey. But I'm just gonna do like a whole little patch of grass over here. I usually say go up with your stroke, but I'm just kind of trying to paint it in for right now, so I guess you don't have to be too perfect in the beginning. Just kind of get it patched in. Then let's throw a bunch of light grass, maybe some over here. Then let's kind of skip around and throw like a few little patches through the bottom. We'll come back and sharpen them up and make them a little better. But just to get some color on there. All right, now let's grab some slimy limey and medium green. Let's see what color. That kind of gives us close to like what we used in the beginning. Like kind of a sagey green, and we'll do some patches with that. Those are a little hard to see, so let's go ahead and do the dark green ones, then come back to it. So just grab some dark green, maybe like all along right here where it touches the water. We're gonna do some tiny little blades that come up. So I'm just gonna do some all right there along the water. then now we can do these patches we wanted to do earlier. Since it's dry, we'll just kind of throw some in and then we can get crazier with them here in a sec. That's one thing about this painting, it's really pretty, but you got to get really grassy for it to look good. So we'll throw a few right now and then we'll throw a few more here in a second. But for anything to look good, you got to have lights and darks. So now we can come back and throw some more dark all along here too. Let's throw some dark ones. You could even have some that kind of go into the edge of the sky a tiny bit. So I'm just kind of hopping around, throwing my little patches of dark. All right, now maybe some dark and slimy together. And I'm gonna throw a few patches of that. So some dark green and slimy green together. I'm gonna throw a bunch over here through the bottom right. Make sure you have some coming off that bottom edge too. Let's see, let's get us a few over here. A few up here at the top. And whenever you're getting like ones at the top, make sure they kind of, you go up with your brush stroke and you just want some that kind of barely hang into your sky. Getting in a little grass here. Let's throw some, make sure we have some that goes into the water. Actually, I'm gonna throw even more off the bottom down here where we don't have any. So I'm throwing a bunch with the dark green and slimy limey kind of mixed together. And make sure you have a bunch off that bottom edge. Then we'll throw a bunch into the edge of our water too. and kind of skip around. You notice how I'm kind of all over the place skipping around, because you'll get better at the grass blades. So don't worry if they start out looking a little crazy, you'll get better at them. Kind of skip around. Throw a few more up here. Because you just want to get rid of that like perfect line that you can see. You just want to kind of, eventually you want it to look like grass instead of still being able to see that line we had on there. All right, we're getting grassier. Now let's go back with really dark green, and let's add a few more dark green ones back in there. So kind of like where we had them before. Just go over and add a few more. In little patches. Because you would have like how the light would hit. There'd be some darker sections, some lighter sections. We might need our grass to dry down here for a second, then we'll come back and add a few more dark ones. But let's let it dry for just a second, then we can come back and get grassier. So let's wipe that one off and chunk it in the water and give it a little second to dry. All right, so let's grab a number 4 again, and let's just add a few more grass blades. So I might add a few more like light slimy limey ones coming up in a few places. Just a couple little patches, because this bright, it'll really jump out at you. So I wouldn't go too cray-cray with it, but we'll throw just a few patches of the really light. All right, I think we got our grass looking pretty good. So let's go ahead and sign it. We'll just use that teeny tiny in whatever color. Thank you so much for tuning in today. Be sure to check us out. We're on Cox Street in Asheboro. And be sure to check out our website, www.thepreppypossum.com.